program officers, teachers, all NSS committee members, and all NSS volunteers of KC College and from other colleges. On behalf of HSNC University, KC College, it is my pleasure and privilege to welcome you all to this webinar, Contribution to the Society in the Pandemic Situation by Using Expertise in the Subject of Medical Microbiology. It is a great honor for me to introduce and welcome today's speaker, Mr. Adireddy Pardesi Naidu. Mr. Adireddy Pardesi Naidu has completed his MSc MS PhD. He is a senior lecturer in Department of Microbiology, NSS Program Officer, Secretary Indian Youth Red Cross in Government Medical College, Anantapuram, Andhra Pradesh, India. Mr. Reddy has a teaching experience of 12 years and 6 months in the same college, and he has worked as in charge head of department for 2 years. Mr. Adireddy Naidu has 11 years experience of NSS program officer and 2-year experience of in charge physical director. He has also worked as Vanam Manam nodal officer, secretary of Indian Youth Red Cross Society, and as a medical college men's hostel deputy warden. Mr. Naidu bestowed several awards as National NSS Award from Honorable President of India, Shri Ramnath Kovind ji, on 24 September 2019 on the eve of NSS Golden Jubilee celebration at Rashtrapati Bhavan, New Delhi for the year 2017-18 as a National Best NSS Program Officer, ranking number 1 in entire India, and his NSS unit selected as a national level Best NSS Unit, ranking 1 in entire India for the year 2017-18, and his Government Medical College got President of India Award in national category. He has also awarded with Andhra Pradesh State Level Best NSS Program Officer Award for the year 2015-16 by Dr. Ambedkar University, Srikakulam. Mr. Naidu has received many awards, appreciation certificate, recognition award, and felicitation from Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Nara Chandrababu Naidu, on the eve of World Organ Donor Day in the year 2018 for collection of 2000 plus organ donation consent form in Anantapuram town in 1 week. He has received Best Merit Certificate as Best Teacher, Best Certificate of Commendation Award on the eve of 73rd Independence Day celebration. Sir has also received Indian Red Cross Award, district level, Best Resource Person Award, Bharat Vidyashri Award, Overall Performer Award, Nation Builder Award, Best Motivator Award, District Best Blood Motivator Award, Best Social Service Award, and many more awards. List is very, very long. Mr. Adireddy Naidu has tasted success and achievement in his life. He participated as a team leader of Andhra Pradesh State with his 10th medical student from Government Medical College at Himachal Pradesh. Sir has published 2 papers and authored book for paramedical students. He has participated in 5 national level NSS camp, 3 state level NSS camp, pre-Republic Day parade camp, university and district level NSS camp. He has worked as resource person and motivational speaker at different occasions and has adopted Siddharampuram village till date and conducted several health camps and create awareness and so many programs. The list is really very, very long. Now we all eager to hear you, sir. Please welcome Mr. Adireddy Naidu. Over to sir. Thank
Thank you, Jyotsna Madam.
you.
May I request Mr. Pardesi Naidu to begin with his session.
Monish, please share his PPT. PPNDT
Good evening, all of you.
Good evening.
Sir, good evening, sir. First of all, thank you very much for giving an opportunity to take the first webinar in my life. This is the first webinar class. In my 40 years of my life, I'm not taking any online class. And this is the best platform and best opportunity to take my first webinar class. Thank you, Principal Madam, and also my dear best friend and the Dynamic NSS Program Officer, Sri Satish Kotle sir. So a very good human being. We're all human beings, but only few people being like a human like you, sir. We love you, sir, and arranging webinar class today. And thank you, Pratiksha madam and Mohit and other who is introducing me, madam. And thank you very much for giving me opportunity to take some time to arrange this beautiful class, to interact all the NSS volunteers across the India, not only for Andhra Pradesh. And till now, I am only interacting the NSS volunteers with Telugu states like Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. But now, this is the first platform is given to me to interact the all NSS volunteers, NSS fraternity across the India. So thank you, Satish sir. So my topic is what is the role of medical microbiologist in pandemic situation. See, you know, we are all hello. Hello.
Yes, sir, you can continue. You're audible.
Madam,
We can hear you.
yes. In the life, there is no one is safe until all are safe. So it is applicable for all communicable diseases, including COVID also. We are not safe, others are safe. So it's a very important to prevent the infections. So what is the role of the medical microbiologist in a pandemic situation? Where all microbiologists do hard work to control the pandemic, to protect the humans across the society and the world. So what is the most important roles of the medical microbiologist is play in the pandemic situation. So play a vital role in the fight against coronavirus, and not only for corona and other all pandemic infections, not only for infectious diseases and non-communicable diseases also. So the laboratory-based microbiologists are paying attention to the diagnostic tests being used to identify people testing positive for coronavirus. So in the coronavirus, there are two types of patients are there. One is symptomatic patients and another one is asymptomatic patients. So it is more dangerous to spread the infection to others is the asymptomatic patients. The symptomatic patients are getting symptoms like cough, fever, um, respiratory illness. So these are all symptoms are for COVID. So the people are very identified symptomatic patients. Then the patients are go to the hospital and admitted in the isolation ward and do for testing. If the person is positive, then go to the quarantine. But the asymptomatic people are more dangerous. These people are transmit the infections. These people are not identified, whether the persons also not knows whether the infection is present or not in the body. So these people are carriers, the most important carriers to transmit the infection to others. So in the case of new disease like COVID-19, there are many unknowns that we are all to discover the known patient, who is known patient to COVID. Next slide. So microbiologists are gathering information They can be used to inform trials assessing disease, transmission, and potential new treatments. This includes providing guidance on which specimens should be collected and the best diagnostic tests used. We are also exploring the possibility of testing the antiviral properties of a new treatment we have developed to assist with the fight against COVID-19, as well as developing a new blood test, find out which is the best blood test, find out which is the test is early diagnosis for COVID. Like that, the microbiologists across the world is doing the service to the nation. Next slide. So in addition, our team have volunteered to help on the front line, providing our laboratory skills and specialist equipment to help test swabs from public for coronavirus. This will assist in managing the vast number of samples that need to be processed during the pandemic situation. So previously, we are testing for only 100 to 120 in our ICMR VRDL lab, that is Indian Council of Medical Research Viral Research Diagnostic Lab. We have previously tested only for 100 to 120 in a single sample. But now the ICMR is implementing the guidelines, pooled samples. So pooled samples means the five persons collect one vial, and all these 5 samples are put into one vial, and the 1 ml is tested for testing. If the test is negative, all 5 members are negative. If the test is positive, again sample is tested for RNA extraction, do for the testing for individual sampling. So that's why the number is increased day by day to test for the coronavirus. Now the testing capacity of our lab is 600 to 700 each day. Especially in the last day in my duty, total number of samples are tested 1375 per day. So 1375 per day is the biggest number across the Andhra Pradesh. This is the record sample testing in the Andhra Pradesh. One day tested 1375 samples in a single day. But every day is not possible. There are a number of samples are pending in our lab. Our district collector and joint collector, assistant collector, all are coming and do for testing immediately as early as possible. The people are suffering like that, told to me. And then every day actually 600 samples are tested, but yesterday do for testing for 1375 samples. So like that, so in a batch, one batch is going to do for the testing for RT-PCR. It takes the time for 14 hours for testing actually. So actually the samples are tested for only 50 samples. It takes the time is only 8 hours. But yesterday the takes time is more due to the sample increased. So day by day the ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, is giving a proper guidelines to develop the testing facilities across the India. So now our lab is facilitating for more than 600 to 700 samples per day. So in our lab, Government Medical College Anantapur ICMR lab tested till date more than 11,000 samples. More than 11,000 samples, more than 300 positives till date is positive for coronavirus. Next slide. So yes, next slide. Before slide, doing this work makes me proud because we are in a position to be able to help not only during this crisis but also in years to come. Unraveling the mysteries of this disease and learning how to better protect our community from future pandemics. So feeling proud to be a microbiologist, to work for the society, to decrease the incidence in the coronavirus, not only for corona, other pandemic diseases also. It's not the disease is not controlled within a 1 day or within a week or within a month. There is no chance to control the infection. So the only control the infection, the prevention of the infection, this based on their developing the vaccines or developing the appropriate therapy or treatment developing by the doctors or microbiologists. So there is no vaccine. The disease is not cured. So same like HIV infection, the infection is continuing several years. You know, HIV is discovered in 1981, but till now 0.89% is the prevalence rate in India. So in every 1,000 people, 8 to 9 people are suffering with HIV infection. So like that, if the people are not discovering the vaccine against the coronavirus, the disease is also continuing several years. So that's why we are all protect the infection based on their giving guidelines to the government. The central government as well as the state governments are giving the proper guidelines every hour to monitor the people to control the disease. So that's why the government is implemented the lockdown. So successfully, the Narendra Modi ji is implementing the lockdown till this month ending. Maybe it is continued next month also. Otherwise, the cases are definitely increased. So the people are self-quarantine, so home quarantine, and maintain a social distance and also physical distance, and definitely control the COVID infection in few days. So otherwise, the disease is definitely transmit number of cases. You see the scenario of this disease, before 1 month, the cases are just only 10,000. But in 1 month, the number of cases are increased, and till now, more than 60,000 cases in India is positive. So more than 3,000 deaths in India. So because of the severity is very less in a Indian strain of corona. So compare than Italy, compare than other America strains. But the strain which is coming to the India, which is less severe, it is not that much virulent, potent strain is coming. That's why the people are not that much danger. So definitely the disease is based on their immune system. The disease is definitely controlling ourselves to improve the immune system, to improve our immune system, to maintain a hygienic life, to eat good food, to sleep minimum 8 hours each day, eat so much of fruits, and every day take at least vitamin C tablet, vitamin D. So they're definitely improving our immune system to fight against corona. Then if any person feels difficult to breathe, immediately take if any person is difficult to breathe or getting symptoms like fever or dry cough, then the patient is suspected as a COVID patient. Then you don't know whether it's a COVID or a non-influenza viruses. So then you better to go to hospital, admitted in a corona isolation or what, and the doctors are treating the patient. Whether the symptoms are related to the COVID, then sent to the sample for testing for corona. So next slide. So that's why you're all very proud. Microbiologists are very proud and do for without holiday. So till in my college, the work is started March 14th. So there are 7 members of faculty members, but I'm the first faculty member. And 14th date, March till date, there is no holiday, there is no Sunday. From March 14th to till date, we are working more than 10 to 12 hours each day, and every night shifts we are working more than 28 hours. More than 28 hours. One day the duty is 28 hours, then take rest 16 hours, again go to duty. So like that, we microbiologists, and not only for microbiologists, research scientists, non-medical scientists, and especially the frontline workers to do testing. There is another than the lab technicians. The most important vital role to diagnose the coronavirus samples in our laboratories. You know, the number of students knows already what is coronavirus. So the coronavirus is a coronaviridae family. So it is first, the recent coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 is discovered in Wuhan, China in December 2019. That's what COVID means. Co means corona, VI means virus, D means disease. So COVID means coronaviral disease. 19 means it is discovered in 19, Wuhan, China. Then it is uh, transmitted the infection across the world. All the countries are affected till date. So next slide. So it is a coronavirus or enveloped virus. It is a crown-like spikes giving appearance solar corona large 120 to 160 nanometers. You know, nanometers. So the viruses are very smallest microorganisms. So you know the microbiology, the study of living microorganisms which are observed under the microscope is called microbiology. So the size of the nanometer is 1 by millionth of millimeter. So 1 by millionth of millimeter means you take one pen, put a dot, that dot contains 1 millimeter, the millimeter contains 10 lakhs of viruses. That is the size of virus. So just one dot, just take the pen and put one dot, that much size of specimens, either blood or any nasal secretions or oral secretions are transmitted to others. That much portion of blood, lakhs of viruses are transmitted to others. That is the size of virus. That is a nanometer size. Very smallest microorganisms are causing infections in human beings is viruses, which is not visible in a normal compound microscope, but it is only visible in electron microscopes. The electron microscopes are not available. I think each state is only 1 or 2 electron microscopes are available, each state. So that much cost effective. That's why the microscopes are not available. And all viral diagnosis can be done by either genomic technologies like polymerase chain reaction methods, so gene techniques, and antibody techniques, and ELISA, enzyme linked immunosorbent assay techniques. So not routinely done for smear examination for detection of the structure of virus. It is not possible everywhere. So that much size. That's why if the small sample can be transmitted to the small sample can transmit to others, it's causing the infections. The number of viruses are going. For example, like HIV. If maybe the persons are getting the HIV infection not only for the sexual contacts and blood transfusions, are sharing of the needles, especially in the healthcare industry, people like medical people, nursing people, lab technicians are getting some needle stick injuries. In that needle stick injury, while the collection of the samples from the patient, the needle is injected to medical people, medical veterinary people. Just a small portion of blood can be transmitted to medical worker. Then the lakhs of viruses are enters into the body. Then each day, for example, like HIV virus, in each day, one HIV virus can replicate 5 billion copies. 5 billion copies means 1 billion is 100 crores. 5 billion copies means 500 crores of copies. So in each HIV virus in our body is replicates 500 crores of copies. So then estimate how much. So the HIV virus is enters into the human body, then it is eating CD4 cells, that is clusters differentiation 4 cells, which is gives immunity to the individuals. Then it is eaten by the HIV virus. Our immune system cells like CD4 cells is decreased. So generally 1 cubic millimeter of blood, the cells is 800 to 1200. When less than 200 cells per cubic millimeter of blood, then the patient called as an AIDS patient. That is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So that much immunity is decreased based on their viruses. So like that, corona also replicates lakhs of crores of viruses and causing the infection. First, the disease enters into the root respiratory tract and goes to the lungs and multiplies in the lungs and causing the breathlessness. So difficult to take breathing. That is the most important major symptom in the coronavirus. It is a segmented positive sense RNA virus. Next. Next slide. So the human coronaviruses usually cause mild upper respiratory tract infections, occasionally diarrhea also. The symptoms are observed that the patient is getting some diarrhea, fever, and dry cough, and breathlessness. So these are the major symptoms of the coronaviral infection. There are 4 human coronaviruses are endemic globally. These are the different types of coronaviruses. Next slide. There's no time, so finish fast. Next slide. So the zoonotic coronaviruses, that is SARS-CoV, that is severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus, and MERS, that is Middle East respiratory syndrome coronavirus. And now the latest coronavirus, that is COVID-19, that is the latest coronavirus 2019. So it is discovered in Wuhan, China. Next. The SARS-CoV-2 is inactivated by 62 to 71% of ethyl alcohol and 0.5% hydrogen peroxide and 0.1% of sodium hypochlorite within 1 minute. 0.05 to 0.2% benzalkonium chloride, 0.02% chlorhexidine, digluconate are less effective. The SARS-CoV-2 can persist on inanimate surfaces like metal, glass, or plastic up to 9 days. Next. Sample collection for COVID-19. So now I'm telling the sample collection strategy. The ICMR is giving the guidelines for strategy for collection of the samples, in which person is collecting the sample. Not all the persons, only symptomatic patients. So what are the revised testing strategy in the ICMR is, all symptomatic persons, like whoever is suffering with fever, cough, difficulty of breathing within 14 days of international travel. So all symptomatic contacts of confirmed cases. So why international travel is, in India, there is no patient is COVID positive. It is discovered in China. So the people are migrating China across the world. Then who is coming from China? The people are infecting in India. So like that, first testing is done for the international travelers within 14 days. And if maybe the persons are positive, if any confirmed positive cases, all the primary contacts also tested. Then second contacts also tested for coronavirus. So all hospitalized patients with severe acute respiratory illness. Next. So asymptomatic direct and high risk contacts of confirmed case should be tested once between the day 5 to 14. And direct and high risk contact include those who live in the same household with a confirmed case, healthcare worker who is examined a confirmed case without adequate protection as per WHO recommendations. So recently in our state, the first lab, the first hospital, in our hospital only getting the infection, 4 members is getting infections. And actually in Antobody town, there are 100 kilometers far away, Hindupur town is located. One person is suffering with symptoms like fever, breathlessness, and dry cough. The patient called as Mustaq Khan is coming to our hospital for treatment. Then our medical faculties are not utilizing the proper PPE kits. Personal protective equipment kits are not used. Then go and treated the patient. If the persons are not thinking, if there is no cases in Anantapur district, so it is a general cough like that. Then the persons are go and directly handling. Just use only normal mask. It is not an N95 mask. So use normal mask without any PPE. Then go and give the treatment. Then, so if the symptoms are like corona, then do for testing. So do for testing, the patient is positive. So before result is coming, before 1 day, the person is dying. So then the result is giving confirmed positive. So whoever is treating the patient, either doctor or nurse or any other healthcare worker, so then all primary contacts of the died patient tested for corona in our lab. Then 4 healthcare workers in our hospital is positive. 1 senior resident, 1 house surgeon doctor, and 2 nurses are corona positive in the one case. Then the persons have transmitted the infection to other. So the patient is living in 3 days in our hospital, and during the cough, the coronaviruses are entering into the other patient. The other patient who is also suffering with symptoms like corona is also aged. Mustaq Khan is a 64-year-old, and the person is transmitted the infection to Mallanna. He is also 70 years old and is also getting symptoms like corona. Then he is also died with the corona disease. And who is treating Mallanna without PPE, then other nurses also affected. 1 doctor is also affected. Like that, in our hospital, more than 15 persons are getting positive for coronavirus due to not take properly as recommended for WHO guidelines PPE. The patients are taking light. The patient is not the person is not that much symptoms. The person is maybe not corona. So like that thinking, then give the treatment, then affecting the corona disease. So please be careful. So if you are all not medical related people, I think, but you go to collecting vegetables, collecting fish, collecting chicken, mutton, so any consumables in the home. If you are not using any mask, gloves, if maybe sanitizers, if maybe the other persons are getting the infection, the persons are transmitting the infection to you. So don't take light, take seriously to do precautions. So prevention is better than cure. If you know all, prevention is better than cure. That is the most important to control the safety precautions you take. So government is giving guidelines every day. So next slide. Next slide. So use adequate standard operating procedures for collection of the samples. It is not for you. Next slide. So what are the samples to be collected for diagnosis of patient? So the most important samples collected for diagnosis of corona for RT-PCR testing, that is nucleic acid amplification testings, real-time polymerase chain reaction method. So take the nasopharyngeal swab. That is the best swab. So why is the coronavirus, the reservoir of the coronavirus is nasopharynx. So nasopharynx is the reservoir of coronavirus. That's why take the nasopharyngeal swab. The swab is collected only ENT surgeon, not the lab technician, not any doctor. The samples are collecting across the India or across the world, only ENT doctor, not for others. The only ENT doctor is collecting the swabs, either nasopharyngeal swab or oropharyngeal swabs like throat swabs. Some other preferred samples like bronchoalveolar lavages, tracheal aspirate, and the sputum samples also used to diagnose the COVID samples. In lab confirmed cases, so like blood samples and stool and urine samples also collected for other purposes. Next. So nasopharyngeal swab, within 3 days of the symptoms onset, the symptoms are coming within 3 days to in between the 7 days, the preferable to collect the samples with prior using of antibiotics or any other materials. Okay, so the samples are generally collecting in 2 tubes. One is VTM, that is viral transport media, and another one is VLM, viral lysis media. So the viral lysis media collected samples are tested for TrueNot labs. So TrueNot labs and other samples are tested for, the VTM samples are tested for RT-PCR testing. Next. Next slide, madam. So, see, this is the collection procedure of nasopharyngeal swab with the help of ENT doctor. So, if the other persons are taking the swabs, so sometimes the patient is died. If the swab is inserted in a wrong angle, if the person is died within 5 minutes. So that's why the samples are collected under the supervision and not supervision, under the collection of only the ENT doctor. The other personnel of the hospitals are not recommended for collection of the nasopharyngeal swab. Next. So either oropharyngeal throat swabs, you collect the correct sample. So showing the correct sample for diagnosis. So that is oropharyngeal swab. So the same patient use two swabs. One swab is put into orally, that is throat swab, and put into media, viral transport media. And then another swab is put into one nose. The same swab again put into second nose also, second hole also. So collecting the three parts of the nasopharynx and oropharynx, then definitely the patient is COVID positive, then definitely diagnosed. That's why collecting the samples, the preferable sample for collection for corona is nasopharyngeal swab and oropharyngeal swab. Next. So next. So other samples. So other specimens. Why are the other specimens? What are the other specimens are collected for diagnosis? Blood. So blood is for detection of the antibodies. So recently, Government of India is also introducing the tests like rapid testing. So rapid detection test in a home. The people are going to home and collecting the blood specimen and do for testing in a rapid technology, rapid based technique. That is a immunochromatographic method or chemiluminescence assay method to detect the coronavirus within 10 minutes. Within 10 minutes, detect in a rapid test kits. It is detected antibodies. There are 5 antibodies are present in the body. In the test, any test, there are 2 important antibodies are diagnosed. One is IgM and second one is IgG. So IgM means immunoglobulin M. So IgG means immunoglobulin G. M for mu, G for gamma. These globulins are detected. These antibodies are detected. So which is early detection of any infection, which is the antibodies appears in early in our body in any infection is IgM, which is late and persists longer and gives against immunity to the disease is IgG. So if you are doing testing for coronavirus IgG and IgM, so IgM is positive, that indicates the patient is positive recently within 1 week the patient gets infection, then our body is developing antibodies against the antigens of the infection. So if any antigen enters into the human body, our body is producing antibodies against the antigen. That antibodies are diagnosed in any infection in a rapid based technology or an enzyme linked immunosorbent assay method, that is ELISA method. So if the IgM is positive, that indicates the patient is recently infected. Then IgG indicates positive, the patient is previously infected. That means 1 month before. So why is IgM appears early, disappears early, but the IgG appears late and persists longer? It gives the immunity to the individual. So then the antibody-based methods, both the immunoglobulins are tested, but the gene molecular techniques, molecular methods used to detect the gene. Okay, next. So next. So what is the use of the rapid tests? So mainly the rapid tests like antibody tests are used for non-symptomatic patients, asymptomatic patients especially. So when the patients are not symptomatic, then do for testing, mass pooling, mass testing, then anybody is positive. That indicates what? The patient is not symptoms, the patient not feeling any symptoms, but The rapid test positive indicates what? The patient is already infected coronavirus, and the body contains antigens. Our body, the immune system is fight against the coronavirus and producing specific antibodies against the coronaviral antigen. So that's why antibodies are produced. If the antibodies are traced in the test, if the person is positive for coronavirus infection, it is very useful for asymptomatic patients. Then how to properly collect the samples? So what are the materials are required for collection of the samples? Either VTM, in the slide. So the big tubes are VTMs, that is viral transport medias. In the small tubes, that is viral lysis medias. So the viral lysis medias is tested for only true not testing, and viral transport medias are tested for both RT-PCR and also CB0. RT-PCR means real-time polymerase chain reaction, and CB0 means cartridge-based nucleic acid amplification testing. Once collected the samples and properly pack the samples and put into the sample carrier box, which is a vaccine carrier box, so sent to the microbiology lab. Next slide. Next slide. So next slide. So this is a triple layer packing. So the sample is not the process of the sampling is most important for testing. If the sample is not coming to a good condition, then the sample is rejected the lab. That's why the sample packing is very, very important for the lab technicians, especially. Next. 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 So this slide is creating awareness to the all our medicos first. So once the Wuhan in China, the coronavirus is coming, if it's not coming in India, then creating awareness to our medical students, doctors, nurses, and other paramedical facilities, all the NSS, the National Service Scheme, is taking an active role to creating awareness about the COVID infection in the society, not only for our medical people and also other degree college students and engineering students and other students also. I'm going to the colleges and taking the sessions for coronavirus. Next. So this is the corona isolation ward. Next. Next. This is our corona isolation ward. Next. 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 Oh, sorry. So I already, so madam, hello.
Yes, sir.
So madam, actually I am giving one PPT, then I am collecting all the photos. Hello.
Yes, sir. Can you share that PPT with us, myself or Monish, any one of us?
Madam. Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Just share it with me.
Yes, madam. Okay, madam. Hello.
Yes, sir. Have you shared it?
Actually, so I collect all the samples from morning to evening, madam. Actually, I collect all the photos, more than 50 photos. How to process the samples from collection point to till results are coming. What work done in our lab now? But it is not.
I haven't received your mail yet.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
It is
Have you
not saved.
mailed it?
That is, it is not saved by.
Do you have it on your computer, sir?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Just open it on your computer and click on share screen button on your computer. Open it
Share
on your
screen,
computer.
madam.
Sir.
Okay, in my laptop, in
Huh.
which place says screen sharing, madam?
Yes, yes. Share the screen.
In which place, madam? Hello.
Sir, icon next to chat.
Till the technical issue
Hello.
is solved, let me interrupt. I hope all of you are enjoying very nice informative session. You all can fill in few questions if you have and put it in the chat box meanwhile. Uh, During that period, our teachers and the resource person will adjust the problem which they are facing right now. Thank you very much. One more point which I would like to inform you that our resource person has just came from the laboratory. He is working day and night in the laboratory, and just to match the time of 4 o'clock, he rushed to his house, and he is uh, there for us. So we should appreciate that how a teacher, a program officer is working from front during this pandemic situation. The link for feedback form is also given to you all, so you can also go through it.
So, Monish, please unmute, sir.
Hello. Madam.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah. So started now. Shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So next slide, next slide, next slide.
So you can operate by your computer.
Okay, okay. So this is our Department of Microbiology. So the collected samples across our district, not only for our district and nearby districts like Kurnool and also Ongole, all these samples are coming to our microbiology VRDL lab, viral diagnostic research lab. And this is our viral, in our Department of Microbiology, one part is that is viral research diagnostic laboratory, and it is Department of Health Research and Indian Council of Medical Research funded lab. So previously, our lab is not selected for testing. So the samples are collected and sent for testing for state virology lab that is located in Tirupati, SUMC, SWIMS University, Tirupati. Then the samples are collected and properly pack the samples, and our VRDL staff is send the samples to the Tirupati lab. And after the ICMR is giving permission to do testing in our lab, and March 23rd, 2020, before March 23rd, 2020, our district Honorable Collector and Magistrate Sri Gandham Chandrudu, and also Joint Collector Sri Dilli Rao sir and Training Collector Madam Jahmi Madam is coming and see whether the lab is fully equipped or not, and the lab is good condition or not, like that, come and visit our lab. So the Joint Collector Dilli Rao sir is visiting our lab, and our VRDL scientist Dr. Priyanka is explain how to process the samples, how to do for RT-PCR testing, and how to do the result. And the results is uploaded in the portals like government portals and also ICMR portals. And this is explained. So, and then before starting the procedures in our lab, our staff, assistant professor madam, is taking a session to how to do the sample testing, like that. And the NSS unit is taking initiative for the conducting the sessions in our lab. So the proper training is also done for missionaries. Which mission is using, the missionaries persons are coming and explain in each mission is how to working, how to do, like that. So in a diagnosis, there are two methods. One is the molecular detection and another one is the antibody detection. Say in the molecular detection, you detect the gene of the coronavirus by three methods. One is RT-PCR, real-time polymerase chain reaction, and second one is CBNAT, that is cartridge-based nucleic acid amplification technique, and also TrueNAT method. These three methods are molecular detection methods. In case of the RT-PCR, for 50 sample size, takes time for 7 to 9 hours. In case of the CBNAT method, give the result approximately 1 hour 15 minutes only. It takes the time within 1 hour 15 minutes. And in case of the TrueNAT, give the result within 1.5 hours. So the time taken for RT-PCR testing is 8 to 10 hours, and CBNAT is only 1 hour 10 minutes. TrueNAT is 1.5 hours only. But in the RT-PCR mission, do for testing in range of 50 to 90 samples. 50 to 90 samples. But in case of the CBNAT, only 2 samples in each time. Sorry, 4 samples for each time. So every 1 hour 15 minutes, 4 samples tested in CBNAT mission. Every 1 hour 15 minutes, only 4 samples. But in case of the TrueNAT, the 2.5 hours. So in each 1.5 hours, 2 samples only detected. So based on their missions available in the laboratory setup, so the laboratory tests are done. But in the RT-PCR, if the samples are pulled, if the number is everyday testing, 600 to up to 1,000 in each day. But in case of the TrueNAT labs, only 5 missions are available, only 100 tests are done. In case of the CBNAT mission, In each day, only 100 tests are done. One CBN admission per day. That is the criteria for detection. In the antibody detection, within 10 minutes, I told already what is the antibody detection procedure. So in the molecular diagnosis, we can detect the viral RNA after the incubation period. So I told already. Next, antibodies IgM and IgG. You know already which antibodies appears early, that is IgM. That means recent infection. The patient is recently infected with any infection, not only for coronavirus, any infection. The IgG indicates it is a late, it appears late in our body, but the persists longer. It gives immunity to the individual against to fight against the same disease. So that's why IgG indicates is a past infection, not the recent infection. So rapid test detects both IgM and IgG antibodies, and chemiluminescence assays also. Comparison rapid methods, immunochromatographic methods. This is the best method to detect the antibodies. So in our lab, the samples are arranged orderly. So they every day, each day, at least 800 samples to 1,000 samples coming across the 3 districts into our lab. So the samples are coming and it is arranged in a order. So time to time in order arranged in our laboratory staff. I may also monitoring the samples arrangement. Then first you check, first ourselves, we check whether the sample ID, ICMR generated one form. If any person is interested to do testing for maybe the patient is suffering from symptoms, and first go to the corona isolation ward and the doctor suggested for testing, immediately in that persons are generated ICMR, that is Indian Council of Medical Research specimen referral form. So after finishing the ICMR CRF form, then the paper, the form is take the ENT doctor and taking of collection of the nasopharyngeal swab. So without ICMR generated form, the ENT doctor is not taking any swab. Once the doctor is collecting the swab and put into the vaccine carrier box, then and transferred to microbiology lab. And immediately the samples are coming. Our VRDL staff, lab technicians, or duty doctor like me is properly checked whether the specimen referral form and the sample is both are same or not. If both are not same, then the sample is rejected. Then immediately call to the doctor, take the sample, another sample for testing. This sample is invalid. The sample is not matched, like that. If sometimes the specimen is fall down, maybe some mistakes, handling the mistakes, then immediately tell to the doctor and asking for again swab. Once it is checked, the ICMR forms and swabs are checked, our staff, then it is entering into the ICMR portals. And also in our state, Mata Sishu Samrakshana, one lab is there, one portal is there, COVID-19 AP government portal, and that samples are updated. Updated means that sample is accepted in our lab. Once the accepted the sample, then only do for testing. Without accepted, the sample is not done. That's why immediately the SRF forms are sent to the data entry operator, then do for specimen entry form. Sometimes the data entry operators are not available, so me do for the sample entry. So sometimes the power cut, occasionally in our area, power cut is frequently cut. So now also in our lab, in my chamber, there is no power cut. So immediately I take the laptop and immediately come to my house within 15 minutes. It's far away. So then come within 15 minutes, I arrange the webinar. So at that times, in that hard times also, our hello, audible? Hello?
Yes, sir,
Hello?
you're audible.
Audible now. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
in our VRDL staff people, in spite of the bad conditions also, do working in the charging lights like me. So these both lights are my personal charging lights, and immediately I am going once power cut, and then I am going to my home and take the two charging lights and do for procedures. It is not interrupting. So the only NSS people and also any social responsible persons only uh, doing like this work. If the person is not that much interest, if the power is coming, then work is doing. Otherwise, stop the work like that. But we are NSS people, National Service Scheme people. We are a social responsible people, and against one war is coming, that is COVID. So dedicated staff members are also working in our VRDL lab. In spite of the bad conditions also. You see, it resembles the picture is showing. See, uh, my staff is working in a non-power situation also. Once these processes is the first step, it is completed, then the samples processing for testing. Once the sample processing for testing, the samples are arranged in a manner. So in each number, so sample number like that arranged. If the samples are not arranged, the results are coming. 1% result is coming to other person result is coming to other person, like that. That's why sample processing area is the most important. Our people are very much dedicated, and samples are arranging for pool. So in the last batch, in my last day, I am duty. So last batch, 700 samples are tested in the last batch. In the first batch, tested 307. In the second batch, 325. In the third batch, people are testing 700 samples. 700 samples are arranged in a proper way. Otherwise, the results are coming in a different way. So therefore, the sample processing arrangement is difficult, and the samples are arranged in also very much important. Then once the sample is arranged, then our people, our VRDL staff is due for war against COVID war to do for testing. Then the RT-PCR procedure is started. See, our people are due for the RNA extraction room. It is an infectious room. In this room only, the persons are going to with PPE kits. In the other room, that is master mix room, and other room is also PCR room. But the two rooms, there is not non-infectious. The people are go in a normal dress, no problem. But the people are working in a RNA extraction room, use the PPE kits, and continuously working for RNA extraction. It takes time. For 100 sample size, it takes time 3 hours. If the sample size is 200, the time is 6 hours, like that. So do for the RNA extraction. So this is RNA extraction process. So our VRDL scientists and lab technicians are doing RNA extraction. These are the biosafety cabinets level 2. These are very important. Once before starting the procedures, it's present in the UV light, ultraviolet radiations are present. Once switch on the ultraviolet radiations, then any microorganisms are present within the chamber that is killed by the exposure of UV rays. It is interference with DNA mechanism of the microorganisms to kill the organisms rapidly. So after half an hour, then only go and do for the test, either or an extraction or a master mix in a biosafety cabinets. This is the biosafety cabinet level 2. Then after completion of the extracted sample, so the RNA extraction in that samples, either nasopharyngeal swab or oropharyngeal swab samples, if the coronavirus gene is present, that gene is extracting. Then the extracted gene is mixed with master mix primers. After adding the master mix, that sample. So how much time taken for extraction for 100 samples is 3 hours. And how much time for master mix is 2 hours. At least 1 hour to 2 hours based on their expertise of the lab technicians. Time is 1 hour to 2 hours. Then after master mix adding, then the samples are properly loaded, properly arranged in a PCR kit, then put into the PCR machine. This is thermocycler, is a PCR machine, developed by Carey Mullis, and 1 hour 1 hour 2 hours. 1 hour 2 hours, 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 1 hour 2 hours do for testing for corona. So how much time taken for RT-PCR in each step? Whether the samples are 90, whether the samples are 1. But the run time for the PCR is 1 hour 45 minutes. So this is another mission. There is one Biorad mission, Biorad PCR mission. It is another mission that is rotor gene Q, that is Qiagen mission. So this is a Qiagen PCR and another PCR is Biorad. So simultaneously 200 samples are coming. So maybe 90 samples due for one and 70 samples due for Qiagen. Like that, at a time within 2 hours, 160 samples results are coming out. So this is Qiagen mission. So these are 72 sample size. So accept the controls, at least 65 tests done at a time within 1 hour 45 minutes. So after completion of the RT-PCR, so then watch the result. So our people are first observe, then intimate to the doctor or intimate to the staff who is a faculty member in the roster. Then the person is come and see the graphs of the PCR levels. In between the range of 25 to 35, the PCR graph levels is coming. Then only the considered as a positive. If the less than 25 below or 35 above, then the person indicates negative. In between the range of 25 to 35, the graph is coming, then only positive declares. So every day in our duty, me personally go and visit the RT-PCR lab for all the morning shift, afternoon shift and night shifts and give the reports. So this is complete the procedure. After completion of the procedures, then the results are uploaded in the system. Our staff member is uploaded the results, either whether which sample is positive, which sample is negative, uploaded in Excel sheets, then enters into the portals, then individual papers is also kept in our laboratory. This is another. So that is RT-PCR method. There are 3 methods, 3 steps. One is RNA extraction. For 100 samples, it takes time 3 hours. Then second step is master mix. It takes time 1.5 hours. Then the RT-PCR. Next, do for RT-PCR. That is takes time 1 hour 45 minutes. So first samples collected, then properly arranged, then properly pooled that samples. It takes time around 2 hours. So 2 plus 3 plus 1.5 hour plus 1 hour 45 minutes. It takes time 9 hours to 10 hours for RT-PCR testing, and 90 patients' results are come out within 9 hours. If the samples are individual, only 90 results are coming. If the samples are pooled samples, so 5 persons samples is mixed in one tube, then the results are coming 90 into 5, 450 samples. If maybe one vial that is positive in a pooled sample, that tells the 5 number, who is 5 number added in that well, maybe all 5 or at least 1 member is positive. So that type of samples are go to the rerun, again do for RNA extraction and give the results. Those 5 members only, in which pooled sample is positive in a first method, that samples are again go to the rerun. The remaining negative, all negative samples is tell as a negative samples. That is a pooled sampling technique is introduced by the ICMR for rapid detection of more number of persons. This is another method, that is true not method. So once the sample is coming, they extracted the RNA gene. So then adding the elute and then put into the NAT, nucleic acid amplification technology. So Malbio company based chips available. Then the sample is inserted into the chip. Then the results are coming within 45 minutes. The total procedure of the true not testing, these are true not missions, small missions. Testing only 1 hour 30 minutes only. But only 2 samples at a time for testing. So 1 machine, 2, 5 machines, 10. So within 1.5 hours, 10 samples tested. In round the clock is working 3 shifts in our lab. In the TrueNet lab, more than 100 results, 100 to 150 results coming each day in the TrueNet labs. All the TrueNet positive samples, not a confirmed positive, all the TrueNet sample testing positives called as a presumptive positives. Then again, the patient sample is collected in a VTM tube. Then the VTM is sent to the RT-PCR lab. In the lab also, you look at in our lab only. So again, do for testing. If the test is positive, then declared as a confirmed positive. So in the TrueNet labs located entire the Andhra Pradesh, the testing result positive declares only presumptive positive, not the confirmed positive. All the presumptive cases again take the sample and testing for RNA extraction RT-PCR mission, then only confirmed positives. That's why in our district more than 5 TrueNet labs are there. All the TrueNet labs presumptive positive samples again sent to our RT-PCR lab. Our PCR lab is telling whether the final result, whether the patient is positive or negative. Then once the result is coming, immediately tell to the district authorities and hospital superintendents and quarantine centers heads, all these officials. Why is it's very important. How much time taking for doing for testing is matter, separate matter, but the result is coming as early as possible to control the infections to others. If the person feels I'm negative, there is no symptoms, but the sample is sent to the lab. If the people are very healthy, very immunized person, the person thinks definitely the result is coming negative. If we are telling negative result or we are telling a positive result, after 2 days or after 1 day or after 1 hour, the person is transmitted the infection, number of persons. That's why as early as possible, our lab is telling the results to the concerned staff. Immediately the staff taking the patients to the quarantine centers and isolatedly single room, the person is living within 14 days. That much role is playing all the microbiologists. She is one of our old NSS volunteer, K. Sailata, is only handmade masks is prepared and giving more than 2,000 masks to the doctors, staff, and all NSS volunteers of doctors, nurses. Is so NSS is definitely helpful for the society to increase the morals, ethics, values, etc., etc., etc. So what is the main objective of NSS is personality development through community service. The personality is developing through the community service only. Without service, the person not that much personality is not developed. So maintain a good attitude by helping the others. So definitely, I'm so lucky to have a beautiful, kindly-hearted NSS volunteers. So the one important note, that is our senior NSS volunteers who have already passed in MBBS is collecting more than 2,26,000 rupees. More than 2,26,000. I think utilizing 2,26,000 and purchasing N95 masks to give the house surgeons, who is 2015 batch medicos, to donate at least 2 months. N95 masks is donated our ex-NSS volunteers. See, ex-NSS volunteers are donating 2,20,000. It's a big money. So that much the people are taking seriously to the service activities in our medical college. That's why in our medical college is the first medical college in entire the India got a President of India award in the past 50 years of NSS history. Is feeling proud. It's a proud achievement by the most important backbone of our NSS family, that is none other than students, especially student medicos. Feeling blessed to have that much students. The students are distributed the marks to the principal madam, Dr. Nereza madam, and also viral uh, diagnostic research laboratory, scientist staff, and also other members. So actually, in our medical college is located in red zone area. So the reason, the near medical college, the 2 persons are positive. One positive is near hostel. One of our NSS, ex-NSS volunteer, he is now a house surgeon, is attacking COVID. That's why our college and also our living area like Sainagar area is also one positive is coming. And last 40 days, we are in red zone. So working in red zone. So that much hard work doing for the society. So I think we are all aware to Corona. I think my session is completed. My time is so more time. I'm taking so much of time. So I'm disturbing so many members. So try to tell what is going on in our lab and what done in our lab. So like that, if maybe corrections, please excuse me. And this is the first webinar I told already. I'm feeling very happy today to taking an online class in computer. So I'm only blackboard teaching and also PPT classes in our medical college. But the online due to COVID, so used across the world. So there is no colleges. Webinar sessions and Zoom classes like that. So that's why I am also taking the first class in a webinar. So thank you so much, Satish sir, for giving a beautiful opportunity to interact to the respected faculty members in our college, and also feeling blessed to watch principal madam also listening the class. I know personally our principal madam is also coming for taking the award in the prestigious Darbar Hall at Rashtrapati Bhavan. It is not a joke to take the award. Out of the 46,000 of NSS program officers across the India, only 10 members are getting the award. So you are the one, and your principal is also honoring and giving the cash prize 1 lakh. That is not a small thing, it is the biggest thing, and it is definitely most memorable moment in your college. And definitely your college management is feeling proud to you as a as a program officer, and that much dedicated people are working in our college. So thank you very much. Any doubts, ask me.
Thank you very
So
much,
we
sir.
have,
The
So
session was
actually,
very nice.
one small, and actually, I am not aware to how to download the Zoom also. But Pratiksha madam is giving suggestions and guidance, and put the Zoom app successfully in my laptop in the first day. Actually, you are all thinking why the people are not that much technically sound. So it's not coming. Okay, thank you very much, Pratiksha madam, and also Mohit brother, and also one Telugu brother is also calling me and arranging within 5 minutes 3 to 4 persons how to technically. I am expert. So thank you very much for all for giving a cooperation to take a 1.5 hour session.
so there
Sir, the
are,
session is too good. Now the session will be open for question answer, and our Pratiksha madam will look after that part.
Hello, sir,
Continue,
sound is not
Pratiksha
coming,
madam.
sir. Hello,
Hello.
sir, sound is not coming. Hello, sound not coming.
Okay, now we are starting with question answer session. Wait.
sir's audio has gone. I think network
Hello?
error. So can you hear us?
Sir, can you hear us?
So can you hear us?
Hello?
Sir, can you hear us? Sir, we can hear you very well. We can hear you very well, sir. Hello? Hello, sir. Hello?
Hello? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, continue. Pratiksha,
sir.
madam, please continue.
So we have received n number of questions from various faculties and students and so many senior faculties as well. Let us take some of those questions, and on your behalf, I'll promise our teachers and students that you will answer all their questions on mail, because right now we won't be able to take all the questions. We'll take some of those questions, and remaining questions we can take on email. You can answer on email.
Okay, madam. Okay, madam. Sure, madam.
So let us take one question from our senior teacher Prabha ma'am has asked one question. Is it possible to get false negative test in case of pooled samples?
Yes,
False negative test.
Yes,
is it
yes,
possible to get?
False negatives are not coming, madam. False positives may be coming.
Okay. And what is the limit of detection?
So limit of detection for pool sampling is 5, madam. Each 5 samples, one pool. So like that arranging. 5 is the maximum number. The recently ICMR giving a guidelines for only 5 samples only. So that is the guidelines is giving for full sampling is incidence rate is less than 200, less than 2%. So in which areas are less than 2% prevalence rate in the COVID, the less than 2% the samples only pooled. So increase greater than 2%, that is not done for pool sampling. It is done for only single sample, individual sampling only.
So Shailaja madam from our college has asked one question. After the gas leak in Vizag, is there any increase in corona positive cases? And what measures Andhra Pradesh government is taking to control the spread?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. Why is the number of cases are increased? Not only but that much increased, the number is increased each day 30, 40 samples positive in Visakhapatnam. So why is in that situation, it is a very dangerous situation is coming in that area. I'm actually basically I'm a Visakhapatnam Visaghian. My native place is Visakhapatnam. That gas leakage place is near my home, only 1 kilometer distance. Then I am working in a Anantapur Medical College. It is 1,000 kilometers far away. It is one border of Andhra Pradesh. It is another border of Andhra Pradesh. See, the more number of persons are go and giving help to the individuals, that much crowd is coming. So that's why if that persons maybe 1 or 2 positives, that persons are transmitted the infection to others. That's why definitely increase the number, not that much, but the number is increased in especially in the hospital setup, not in the area, the located area, but the persons are coming to the King George Hospital located in Visakhapatnam. The number of persons are coming to the hospital now, that persons are transmitted the infection. So that's why I think increase the number, little bit increased after the incidence of that only gas leakage, only few people, not more number.
Okay, our head of the department of microbiology department, she has asked, does the type of sample that is collected affect the result of the test? The type of sample that is collected, does it affect the result?
Yes, madam. So in RT-PCR, I told already, real-time polymerase chain reaction for VTMs, viral transport medias, are used for collection of the samples for RT-PCR. In case of true not labs, viral lysis media samples. Not directly the swab is collected and do for testing. The collected specimen, either nasopharyngeal swab or oropharyngeal swab, immediately put into the viral transport media and properly locked and put into the vaccine carrier box and immediately sent to the sample to the lab. And the lab is also done for testing within 2 days. Otherwise, the cold chain maintenance is not good condition.
Sir, one of our student has asked a good question. How are the positive samples disposed after testing?
Yes.
How the disposal is done?
Yes, very good question asking the student proud of you. And that is very important for biomedical waste management. Once the sample is done for testing, just for wait to ICMR is giving a guidelines to sterilize the samples properly. So once the mail is coming or receiving, then the samples are due for autoclaving. Then first the specimens are applying for hydrogen peroxide, hypochlorite solutions. So 1% hypochlorite is the best method, best disinfectant solution to kill the virus. So that's why 1% hypo is used. Then the samples are put into autoclave. Then all the materials, whatever is present inside the sample, then is killed by 15 minutes, within 15 minutes, but at 121 degrees, 15 lbs pressure, the autoclaving, then all the microorganisms are killed in the tube. Then the tubes are given to the biomedical waste management person. That person is taking the biomedical treatment plant.
Sir, one more question from our colleague. Do we have cases where presumptive positive cases were later confirmed as negative?
Yes. There are a number of cases. For example, 20 presumptive cases is coming in the true not labs. Out of the 20, only 5 to 6 positive for confirmed positives. See, why is in that method only true not is only for testing for only one gene of corona, that is enveloped gene, that is E gene. So in the lab, in that lab, true not labs are tested for only screening gene. The screening gene called as E gene. E means envelope gene. So once the E gene is positive, then do for testing for confirmation gene, that is RDRP, that is RNA dependent RNA polymerase gene, RDRP gene, RNA dependent RNA polymerase gene. That is a first confirmation gene. Then additional confirmation gene is N gene. So based on their two genes, then the sample is confirmed positive. So the true not presumptive positives, the second method, the second gene is not detected, then the patient is called as negative. There are a number of cases, screening positive, confirmatory negative. Then the patient called as negative.
Sir, can we take 2 more questions?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. No problem.
Do we have cases? Oh, I'm sorry, I have already taken that question. Sir, another question asked by Rajita ma'am. Have you noticed any strain variations in the virus?
Yes, madam. Actually, strain variations and mutations are coming spontaneously. So that's why in across the world, the gene is not same. The virus is not same. The strains are not same. That's why some of the countries are more pandemic, more deaths are coming. But in case of the India, not that much deaths are coming. So in the deaths are more. That strain is more virulent strain. Virulence means increase the pathogenicity. So in that India is a less virulent strain. That's why we are compared than other countries, we are safe.
There is one more question. According to some reports, the virus manages to survive on dead bodies. So is there any chance that the virus will stay in the ground after burial also?
So actually the dead body management is also, ICMR is giving a proper guidelines to how to manage the dead bodies. So in the dead bodies also, after disposing the dead bodies in any hospital, in the community, one person is died, if the people are recognized and do for testing, If the people are not recognized and do for procedures in a accumulation like that, if maybe the patient is positive for COVID, then the person is transmitted the infection to others. But in the hospital setup now, every died COVID positive or non-COVID persons died in the hospital, the treatment is same. So involving all the chemical disinfectants in the body, then whatever the virus is present in the body, it is killed.
Sir, many of our students have asked, many of them are microbiology students as well. How can they contribute to the society being a microbiology student in this pandemic situation?
Actually, we enroll, give a name to the active volunteer to do work in the hospitals. For example, especially in the testing laboratory, microbiologist, what is the role of the microbiologist is to sample collection, sample processing, sample testing. So that's why if the number of workers in the ICMR is very less, if the persons are very much interested, especially in the postgraduate students or undergraduate students, especially in the microbiology background, the people are put a letter to the government or medical college principal or dean. So I'm very much interested to do work in the lab. Please give me the opportunity in a pandemic situation and to serve the nation, to serve the people, poor people. So like that, they put a letter, and the people are giving permission to go do for testing and other procedures. It is a very important actually. Our volunteers are active, take an initiative role to go and ask the permission to do the test in this situation. Why in this situation is not coming? We are all not in the 40 years, last 40 years or 50 years or 60 years, last 100 years, this type of situation is not faced in India. This is the most drastic situation. So it's a calamity is coming. Our people are definitely comes forward to ask questions like this, to do the work for the better society and better nation, and feeling proud to ask that type of questions to your volunteers.
Sir, one last question now. As per the latest update by Ayush Health Ministry, people are consuming arsenic album medicine. Can you elaborate on it?
So, madam, actually, till now, there is no medicine is available in the COVID. The only prophylactic treatment is given by the ICMR, that is hydroxychloroquine. So, hydroxychloroquine is used 200 mg or 400 mg. If you are using 400 mg, one day, 1 week, morning and evening. Then after 1 week, use only morning. After 1 week, use only morning. After 1 week, use only morning. 7 weeks. According to the ICMR guidelines, the only preventive prophylactic treatment is given for hydroxychloroquine and also azithromycin. So, but sometimes some heart patients or some comorbidity patients are suffered with using these type of drugs. These some contraindications are there, some side effects also there. So go and ask to the physician and use this hydroxychloroquine tablets. That is the only prophylaxis is given in the ICMR. There is no proper drug till date. There is no proper vaccine also till date. And expecting as early as possible, the vaccine is invented by scientists.
Sir, that's it. I think remaining questions I'll mail you, and I'll assure my participants, that you will answer their questions on mail.
Yes, madam. Thank you, madam.
I'll forward those questions to you. So, dear participants, one announcement: a feedback form link is shared with you all. All of you are supposed to fill up that feedback form, because the same link will be used for certification purpose as well. So, over to Kolte, sir.
Thank you very much, Pratiksha madam. It is a very interesting session. You handled the question answer session very well, and our resource person answered each and every question so nicely. He has worked at grassroots level, and therefore his confidence and the communication is so well that all are satisfied. Now let me hand over to one of our colleague, Dr. Shalini Rai, who is from License Department and our NSS committee member, who will offer the vote of thanks.
Thank you,
Shalini,
sir.
madam.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Am I audible?
Continue. Yes, madam.
Good evening, everyone. So, it's my pleasure to propose vote of thanks for today's session on behalf of NSS Unit of KC College, HSNC University. First of all, I am really grateful to Dr. Adireddy Naidu, sir, for his illustrious talk on the details of all the microbiological aspects, may it be technique, what are the procedures related to the testing, what are the challenges they are facing during the testing of this COVID, and how his team is cooperating in this scenario when people are working for 28 hours as per shift schedule he mentioned, and getting a rest of a very shorter period of time. Thank you so very much, sir, for your detailed input. I want to add one more thing here is sir illustrated something along with this, that there is a time to understand the need of hygiene and prevention measures which we should be actually practicing for preventing us from any kind of future pandemic which may happen. We never know what the nature is going to bring in front of us. Thirdly, I am really touched with one of your sentences that we all are human beings, but very few people behave like humans. And that is, I think, is a connection between you and Polte sir, which actually make a NSS program officer or a leader a true leader. The time when we understand that this is what a NSS teacher or a NSS coordinator mean, it actually makes a lot of difference to the student volunteers and the fraternity associated with them to work on. We are grateful to our principal ma'am for always being present to support us generously for any endeavor we just go to her for. I am also grateful to vice principal of our college, that is Dr. Justin, Mr. Justin, and along with that, other vice principals from various colleges to be present who are from remote areas and are present for this webinar, to join us for this webinar. I'm also thankful to the coordinator of Unnat Bharat Abhiyan to be associated with this webinar today, taking out time from his busy schedule. Along with this, we have many senior faculty members from other departments also be present here, like Prabha ma'am is there, and many teachers who are not officially a part of NSS, but they are continuously supporting us for many of these NSS endeavors. Lastly, I am very much thankful and grateful for all the NSS volunteers and fraternity, teaching fraternity from various colleges to be a part of this webinar. I am really grateful for technical assistance to the entire team. Roshan is there. We have another person, technical assistant, Monish is there. Along with that, Pratiksha madam is always there for any kind of troubleshooting. So thank you everyone for making this webinar a success. And I can say, being a NSS teacher or a participant, or you can say a volunteer, I must like to add that this is one of the very good takeaway we should have it, that it is the time when we need to behave like human, not only being considered as human beings. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Shalini madam.
Welcome, sir.
Now, let me thank Pardesi sir just by using 3 words, Chala Bagunde session.
Sir, thank you so much.
We would like to know.
Thank you very much. And all the participants, there will be one more webinar after 2 days. We'll send you the invitation. Hope you all will join us and we all will enjoy knowledge sharing session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.